Good morning, good evening, good night, whenever you guys are watching this channel. First, subscribe. I want you to listen to this senator. His name is James Lankford from Oklahoma. It was very interesting. And I'm going to show you little bits and pieces of Biden's speech talking about the vaccinated and unvaccinated. Um, Check this out and let's watch it together and tell me what you think.
Senator from Oklahoma. President, last week, President Biden announced that he had lost patience with the American people and that he was demanding people get a vaccination.
My message to unvaccinated Americans is this. What more is there to wait for? What more do you need to see?
Let me pause that for you. I watched this whole speech that he got. I think it was like 7 minutes. It seemed like it was 7 hours. But I don't want you guys to suffer through his speech. So I'm going to just give you little bits and pieces. And just listen to this. Just listen to what he's saying very closely. And tell me what you think.
We've made vaccinations free, safe, and convenient. The vaccine has FDA approval. Over 200 million Americans have gotten at least one shot. We've been patient, but our patience is wearing thin.
Hey, that sounds like a threat to me. He said he's being patient, but his patience is running thin. So now, he's coming up with all these mandates that's going to go into effect. And I think right before Thanksgiving about all the federal employees and different employees with over 100 employees have to get their employees vaccinated or they got to go through testing weekly. But check out what this senator has to say about that.
No, I've had the vaccine. I'm grateful for the vaccine. It's an entirely different issue for the President of the United States to wag his finger at the American people and to say, I know what you've chosen, but I choose something different and you're going to follow me. To literally instruct every employer with 100 employees or more, every federal contractor, every federal employee to bend to the will of the president and take this injection. It's a very different thing.
Now check what Biden has to say. Now, if you want to divide a country, here you do exactly this. If you want to divide people, do what Biden is doing. Separate the vaccinated and the unvaccinated. Watch how he put this together. Check it out.
The second piece of my plan is continuing to protect the vaccinated. For the vast majority of you who've gotten vaccinated, I understand your anger at those who haven't gotten vaccinated.
Wow.
I understand the anxiety about getting a breakthrough case. But as the science makes clear.
Now he's talking about science. And you're going to notice he's not going to mention about people that have had COVID and recovered and have formed antibodies. He'll never mention that. I wonder why. Let's continue.
If you're fully vaccinated, you're highly protected from severe illness, even if you get COVID-19. In fact, recent data indicates there is only one confirmed positive case per 5,000 fully vaccinated Americans per day.
Well, I'm not going to let you guys suffer through listening to Biden. It was like, I think, a 7 or 8 minute speech, but I watched the whole thing and seemed like it was about 7 or 8 hours. So I won't play any more of his stuff. I'm going to let you hear what the senator has to say right here.
There are over 39 million Americans right now that we know of that have already had COVID-19, have survived it, and have natural immunity. The president's demand for vaccine ignored those almost 40 million Americans that already have natural immunity.
So if that's 40 million Americans, it's about 332 million Americans. So if you do the math, you take the 40 and divide it by the 40 million divided by 332 million, you get 12% of the known people that have had COVID survived and formed antibodies. So that's known people. That's 40 million. So just wonder how many more people who wasn't tested for COVID, who was asymptomatic, that had COVID and maybe formed antibodies. But I'll let the senator go ahead.
His demand was, I know you have natural immunity. I want you to get this vaccine as well. Why would we not respect those individuals that have already had COVID-19? According to an article that's in the Wall Street Journal just today, there's a study out of Israel that shows that the immunity from natural immunity is 27 times more effective than the shot. 27 times, according to the study that was just recently come out. To ignore that and to say that's not enough is absurd. It ignores cancer survivors that are very, very careful about what goes into their system. It ignores people with religious objections, and there are millions that have religious objections. It ignores individuals that just don't want to do it because they're an American and they don't have to. And they do not like to have a federal government instructing them what they're going to actually put in their body. So by Thanksgiving, he's planning on laying this vaccine mandate down on the country. Here's the multiple problems there, as I've already outlined. The 40 million people that have already survived COVID and don't want to do the vaccine. The individuals in different medical treatments, the individuals with different other religious issues that they have. But it's also an issue of trying to have a mandate come down from the federal government with an executive order. That's not how our system works. The President of the United States does not have the ability to be able to just demand behavior from the American people. That's not their role. It's been interesting to me. I've had several people that have reached out to me and say, I found out that the president's order exempts Congress. And so how come you get an exemption and I don't? I've quickly responded back to them because we're a co-equal branch of government, and the president's trying to find everybody under, quote unquote, his purview to be able to do this. But the judicial branch and the legislative branch aren't under his purview. Neither should the American people, because the American people do not work for the President of the United States. And companies of 100 people or more, their chief executive, their leadership does not work for the President of the United States.